Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, my dear friends. Welcome to the Quran Habit. I think I'm on day 45, mashallah. And I was thinking about today. It's, subhanallah, I have not missed reciting the Quran once since beginning this habit. And that is itself so fantastic. So the point of the habit is to improve my reading, work on my recitation, and for that, I've also employed a tutor. One of my friends who's watching this, he asked me about my methodology, so I'm going to share that, I think, for a few minutes here. So what I do on a day where I read like a full page, or any day, even a verse, I will read it in Arabic, then I will read it in English, word for word, and then just the straight translation, and then match up. And then I will listen to it in Arabic, and then I will use my Quran pen and I'll go through it word for word again. And then I will recite line for line for line for line until I get it really smooth. Because to me, part of the beauty of reading in Arabic is reciting it as perfectly as possible at whatever level you're at. So when I was doing this a year ago, I was struggling terribly with shadda. So shadda is this symbol that looks like a W for those of my friends who watch this who are new to Arabic or even are non-Muslim. Okay, so that cute little W is called a shadda, and it makes a doubling sound, or what you could say is actually the consonant is repeated, so beside each other, but it's only written once. So alhamdulillah, a year ago, almost to this day, in September, Sheikh Ismail Al-Qadi, he told me it was my 4th of July of shaddas because I had done so well improving on my shaddas that day. So it was a really big deal. And I'm thinking back, so a year ago from that time, I'm thinking back to how I'm reading then and now. And my reading is so different from where it was a year ago. And I understand why, like, Imam Wassam, for instance, said he has videos up where he shows like he had 6 years of tajweed. Sheikh Ismail also told me, and he's a native Arabic speaker, and he told me it takes years to really perfect and refine one's recitation of the Quran and to beautify it. And I personally feel it's a very worthwhile aspiration. Not everyone has to. If it's enough if you read it and you're satisfied, or if you read it even in a translation, if it gives you the barakah you need and the blessing you need, that's subhanallah, that's wonderful, that's enough. But if you have the aspiration and to read it as well, as beautifully, as accurately as possible, it is a wonderful, wonderful, I think, life goal, and it just gets better. So for example, I would start with something like Allahu waliyul ladhina amanu yukhrijuhum minadh-dhulumati ilan nur. But if the first time I'm reading this, right, because I've practiced reading this, like I have read it and reread it before making this recording, probably more than a dozen times. And I'm also re-listening to it. So I listen to a Qari like Sheikh Husri, because he has a very slow recitation, a very accurate and very slow recitation. So it's very helpful to listen to him while you read along in the Arabic. And then I will also listen to Mashawi and Ibrahim Walker, because that recitation is, Mashawi is reciting in the Arabic and a faster rate, much quicker, and Ibrahim Walker is then giving the English translation. So then I read it in Arabic again and listen to it in English, reading the Arabic. And then after all of that, I'll try to read through the full thing without making a mistake once. And that's, at this stage where I'm at, that's extremely difficult. And so if I have the time, if it's a day where I do have the time where I can dedicate to this, then as soon as I make a mistake, I'll go back and I'll start again. And I'll go back and I'll start again until I can read it as flawlessly as possible. That doesn't always happen. In fact, most of the time it doesn't. But I love it when it gets as close to it as I can. And then another aspect of what I do is I concentrate on the things that my tutor tells me need attention. So I've been practicing with the rule of ikhfa, which is a tajweed rule where you hide 50% of the noon sound when it's in combination with certain letters. And then I've been learning about the 3 types of qalqala. Qalqala is like a bouncing sound we make on certain letters. It's really fun. And I didn't know there were 3 types. And so that depending on where it's at in a word, the way you bounce it will be like a basketball. So it's like either a light bounce or a medium bounce or a heavy bounce. So I'm still working on all that. And there are so many tajweed rules I'm still working on. But it's fun. So that's kind of my process. That's what I do. And it takes me over an hour when I do it. And if I have time in addition to that, then I'll pick beautiful verses. Like this one, which I can't remember all the words, but Allah is the protecting friend of those who believe. He takes them, I think it's out of darkness into light. And this is, of course, light. And, well, that's, yeah, but Noor is a very, very common Arabic word. It's also a beautiful name. It means light. So that's what I'll do. I'll pick a verse like that and I'll write it out in Arabic, then I'll write it out in English. Then the next day I'll try to go without looking at the Arabic to look at the Arabic and then write the English without looking at my translation of it. And then I'll do the opposite. I will look at the English and I'll try to write the Arabic from memory without looking at it. So it's rather elaborate what I do when I study this. And like I usually spend a minimum to an hour and a half. And I listen to the Quran, like just this one page. I will listen to this just one page 3, 4, 5 times. And then I will recite that same page 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times before I make the recording. And what I'm seeing as a result of this effort is that my reading is getting better. My pronunciation is improving. My tajweed rules are getting a little bit more precise and finer. There's, as always, so much work to do. And the readings aren't perfect on the first run. So I still make mistakes. And the point isn't to be flawless because these are not tajweed lessons. I am not giving tajweed lessons here. I am encouraging people to create a Quran habit. And I am doing that by having this habit myself. And I want to see at the end of the year if A, I complete the khatam of the Quran, inshallah, and B, if it does not improve my comprehension and reading. So that's the aspiration. Now I've spent over almost 8 minutes talking about the methodology without reciting. So I think I'll make this video about my methodology, and I'll now make a second recording with just the recitation of this page. Okay, so this is just a talk on the methodology I've been using to date and how much work I put into what I'm doing and constant revision. And like I said, I do work with a teacher. It helps. It helps to work with teachers or friends, people who have more experience, who can correct you and help you improve and encourage you, right? So it's important to be encouraged. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people out there who are maybe they're great reciters, but they're not very good teachers. So you really want to find a teacher who loves teaching and is a gifted teacher, and that they care for their students and bring a lot of love and enthusiasm to the work and compassion. And there's so many out there. And I think, like I shared, Imam Wassam, a Quran Revolution, I started with him, and his program's fantastic. He's one of the best. But as always, you try different things. So I have worked with several teachers because I'm always wanting to try something different and adjust and try different things. So I've used many methodologies. So alhamdulillah. So that's that.